Hello and welcome to the next installment of the musings of a mariner sojourning in the land of woke. Finally yesterday I finished this book right here that I've been talking about under Crescent and Cross, and about the Jews in the Middle Ages, and it was written from a Jewish perspective by a man named Mark R. Cohen. The book covered a lot of the same ground that the last book I read about the lost history of Christianity, which I thought that book was excellent, and I think that many people ought to read it, especially when it comes to people that are preaching, that are leaders in their churches, whether they be Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, Oriental Christians. It has some really good points, and though I really don't agree with some of his ideas about maybe we should meld Islam and Christianity into one religion, that just simply doesn't make sense. And I think it was just kind of like I don't know, it didn't even sound like something that, why that author wrote that, I don't know, but other than that, I thought the book was really, really good. As for this one here, under Crescent and Cross, I don't think I would recommend this book. There is obviously a lot of resentment, anger, and hatred towards Christianity by the author, and in this book he often decides what personal motives of people were and what personal thoughts were going through the minds of people going back in antiquity. Now, certainly I learned a lot from this book, but I also know now that I'm going to have to go and study more deeply the plight of the Jewish people in the Christian and Muslim lands. Maybe I could find a book that isn't, and maybe even with the bias, maybe everything is pretty accurate in a lot of ways. I really don't know, and because of the way reading between the lines made me really not trust the author. So that's that, Now, certainly the Jews were extremely mistreated in Muslim and Christian lands, and as I said, I thought it was really interesting, learning that, okay, a lot of the laws governing the Jewish peoples were leftovers from the Roman Empire, and that's really where they come from. Now, I also know that the Inquisition was not as bad as popular ideas of history say. There was much less death and destruction than the Protestant myth of the Inquisition told us about. That said, there was between 2,000 to 5,000 people that were killed during the Inquisition, which was completely unjust. Now, one thing about the Inquisition was targeting Jewish and Muslim converts to Christianity who perhaps were lying about their conversion, and it was also a way to keep the Muslim and Jewish peoples out of leadership positions in the event of a Muslim invasion. In 1492, there was the Great Victory of Granada, which finally freed Christian Spain from centuries of Muslim rule. So, there's a lot of things going on there which this author doesn't take into account at all. So that's some of the reasons why I really think I need to find maybe some better books, or at least a better book, probably a couple better books to read on this subject, or that at least overlap into this subject. So there's that. Now, the next book I'm going to read, I'm just about to start it right now, is this book here. Let me see, it's called After the Ball. how America would conquer its fear and hatred of gays in the 90s. This book I think is very important, and the reason I think it's very important is it was written in the late 80s, and it became the guidebook for the pretty much the LGBTQ agenda. Now, I haven't read this book yet, so I can't really speak to what is actually in it, but from articles and such that I read about the content of this book, it seems that the people who wrote this, which are Marshall Kirk and Hunter Madsen, sounds like they kind of accomplished their goals, you know, with what we're seeing in our society today, with the push for transgenderism and this whole gender psychobabble that's going on in our day. I mean, it simply doesn't make sense, you know. If you want to talk about science denier, those who try to say that someone with male genitalia is a woman, or someone with female genitalia is a man, that is denying science. That is a true science denier there. I mean, the things going on there, you know, the whole like bathroom thing, you know, like men going into women's restrooms, or the high schools where guys who feel like their chicks could go into the female locker rooms. I could think of a lot of people back in the day that would have all of a sudden felt like they were a female if that meant they could go shower naked with all the girls in high school. So that's just opening up areas for predators and for just regular teenage boys that would not mind having that opportunity. But we'll see what this book actually says, and I'll talk about it. Hopefully I'll start doing more videos more often. Like I said, I'm very new to this. I'm out on the boat right now. That's when I do most of my readings, when I'm on the boat. I usually work at least 4 weeks straight and have a couple of weeks off. I don't do a lot of reading at home. Maybe I'll start to change that a little bit. And some of my hitches out here, I focus mostly on studying my Spanish so that I could better communicate with my wife, my beautiful wife, who has a primary language of Spanish. And I really like to be able to communicate with her family, and the better that I speak Spanish, the better I could communicate with her family, which I really love her family. They're great, awesome people, and the better I could communicate with them, the better, you know. So with that, I will talk to y'all later, and I am going to continue sojourning in the land of woke. You all have a great day, and God bless you. And again, if you feel that there's something wrong with the way I think, the way I feel, or what I'm saying, don't insult me, don't attack me. If you could afford a few bucks, go ahead, and I'll put my address, my P.O. box, and you can send me via U.S. Postal Service. UPS does not send to post office boxes. A book that'll help me sojourn better in the land of woke. You could feel free to send me a book to help me become more enlightened, to help me become woke if you feel that I'm not woke right now. I am absolutely open to correcting my thinking. I'm absolutely open to changing my mind on ideas, positions, beliefs, whatever. So I hope that you all have a great day, and goodbye.